And Another Thing. Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Part 6 of 3, by Ian Colfer. The storm had now definitely abated, and what thunder there was now grumbled over more distant hills, like a man saying, "And another thing," 20 minutes after he's admitted he's lost the argument. Douglas Adams. We have travelled through space and time, my friends, to rock this house again. Tenacious D. Foreword. If you own a copy of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, then one of the last things you would be likely to type into its V-board would be the very same title of that particular sub-ether volume, as, presumably, since you have a copy, then you already know about the most remarkable book ever to come out of the great publishing corporations of Ursa Minor. However, Presumption has been the runner-up in every major Causes of Intergalactic Conflict poll for the past few millennia. First place invariably going to land-grabbing bastards with big weapons, and third place usually being a toss-up between coveting another sentient being's significant other and misinterpretation of simple hand gestures. One man's "Wow, this pizza is fantastico" is another's "Your mama plays it fast and loose with sailors." Let us say, for example, that you are on an 8-hour layover in Port Brasta without enough credit for a gargle blaster on your implant, and if upon realising that you know almost nothing about this supposedly wonderful book you hold in your hands, you decide, out of sheer brain-fogging boredom, to type the words "The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy" into the search bar on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, what results will this flippant tappery yield? Firstly, an animated icon appears in a flash of pixels and informs you that there are 3 results, which is confusing, as there are obviously 5 listed below, numbered in the usual order. Guide note, that is, if your understanding of the usual numerical order is from small to large, and not from derivative to inspired, as with the Volfangen slugs, who judge a number's worth based on the artistic integrity of its shape. Volfangen supermarket receipts are beauteous ribbons, but their economy collapses at least once a week. Each of these 5 results is a lengthy article, accompanied by many hours of video and audio files, and some dramatic reconstructions featuring quite well-known actors. This is not the story of those articles. But if you scroll down past Article 5, ignoring the offers to remortgage your kidneys and lengthen your Palm Wrangler, you will come to a line in teeny tiny font that reads, "If you liked this, then you might also like to read." Have your icon rub itself along this link and you will be led to a text-only appendix with absolutely no audio and not so much as a frame of video shot by a student director who made the whole thing in his bedroom and paid his drama sock mates with sandwiches. This is the story of that appendix. Introduction. So far as we know, the Imperial Galactic Government decided, over a bucket of jewelled crabs one day, that a hyperspace expressway was needed in the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy. This decision was rushed through channels ostensibly to preempt traffic congestion in the distant future, but actually to provide employment for a few ministers' cousins who were forever mooching around Government Plaza. Unfortunately, the Earth was in the path of this planned expressway, so the remorseless Vogons were dispatched in a constructor fleet to remove the offending planet with gentle use of thermonuclear weapons. 2 survivors managed to hitch a ride on a Vogon ship. Arthur Dent, a young English employee of a regional radio station, whose plans for the morning did not include having his home planet blasted to dust beneath his slippers. Had the human race held a referendum, it would have been quite likely that Arthur Dent would have been voted least suitable to carry the hopes of humankind into space. Arthur's university yearbook actually referred to him as most likely to end up living in a hole in the Scottish Highlands with only the chip on his shoulder for company. Luckily, Arthur's Betelgeuse friend, Ford Prefect, a roving researcher for that illustrious interstellar travel almanac, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, was more of an optimist. Ford saw the silver linings where Arthur saw only clouds, and so between them they made one prudent space traveller, unless their travels led them to the planet Junipella, where the clouds actually did have silver linings. Arthur would have doubtless steered the ship straight into the nearest cloud of gloom, and Ford would have most certainly attempted to steal the silver, which would have resulted in the catastrophic combustion of the natural gas inside the lining. The explosion would have been pretty, but as a heroic ending it would lack a certain something, i.e. a hero in one piece. The only other Earthling left alive was Tricia Macmillan, or Trillian, to use her cool, spacey name, a fiercely ambitious astrophysicist come fledgling reporter who had always believed that there was more to life than life on Earth. In spite of this conviction, Trillian had nevertheless been amazed when she was whisked off to the stars by Zaphod Beeblebrox, the maverick two-headed galactic president. What can one say of President Beeblebrox that he has not already had printed on T-shirts and circulated throughout the galaxy free with every you-bid purchase? Zaphod says yes to Zaphod was probably the most famous T-shirt slogan, though not even his team of psychiatrists understood what it actually meant. Second favourite was probably Beeblebrox, just be glad he's out there. It is a universal maxim that if someone goes to the trouble of printing something on a T-shirt, then it is most definitely not 100% untrue, which is to say that it is more than likely, fairly definitely not altogether, false. Consequently, when Zaphod Beeblebrox arrived on a planet, people invariably said yes to whatever questions he asked, and when he left, they were glad he was out there. These less-than-traditional heroes were improbably drawn to each other and embarked on a series of adventures which mostly involved gadding about around space and time, sitting on quantum sofas, chatting with gaseous computers, and generally failing to find meaning or fulfillment in any corner of the universe. Arthur Dent eventually returned to the hall in space where the Earth used to be and discovered that the hall had been filled by an Earth-sized planet that looked and behaved remarkably like Earth. In fact, this planet was an Earth, just not Arthur's. Not this Arthur's at any rate, because his home planet was at the centre of a plural zone. The Arthur we are concerned with had found himself shuffled along the dimensional axis to an Earth that had never been destroyed by Vorgons. This rather made our Arthur's day, and his usually pessimistic mood was further improved when he encountered Fenchurch, his soulmate. Luckily, this idyllic period was not cut short by bumping into any alternate universe Arthurs who may have been wandering around, possibly in Los Angeles, working for the BBC. Arthur and his true love travelled the stars together until Fenchurch vanished in mid-conversation during a hyperspace jump. Arthur searched the universe for her, paying his way by exchanging bodily fluids for first-class tickets. Eventually, he was stranded on the planet Lamuella and made a life for himself there as a sandwich maker for a primitive tribe who believed that sandwiches were pretty hot stuff. His tranquillity was disturbed by the arrival of a couriered box from Ford Prefect, which contained the Hitch-Hiker's Guide to the Galaxy Mark II in the form of a smarmy pan-dimensional black bird. Trillian, who was now a successful newswoman, had a delivery of her own for Arthur in the shape of Dent, the daughter conceived with the donated prize of a Seat 2D on the Alpha Centauri Red-Eye. Arthur reluctantly took on the role of parent, but was completely out of his depth with the truculent teenager. Random stole the Guide Mark II and set a course for Earth, where she believed she could finally feel at home. Arthur and Ford followed, to find Trillian already on the planet. Only then is the Mark II's objective revealed. The Vogons, irritated by the Earth's refusal to say kaboomed, had engineered the bird to lure the escapees back to the planet before they destroy it in every dimension, thus fulfilling their original order. Arthur and Ford rushed at semi-breakneck speed to London's Club Beta, pausing only to purchase foie gras and blue suede shoes. Thanks to the old dimensional axis plural zone thing, they found Trillian and Tricia Macmillan coexisting in the same space-time, both being screamed at by an emotional random. Confused? Arthur was, but not for long. Once he noticed the green death rays pulsating through the lower atmosphere, all of the day's other niggling problems seemed to lose their niggliness. After all, confusion was not likely to slice him into a million seared pieces. The Vogon prostetnik had done his job well. Not only had he lured Arthur, Ford and Trillian back to the planet Earth, but he had also managed to trick a Grebulon captain into destroying the Earth for him, thus saving the crew several hundred Vog hours paperwork with the munitions office. Arthur and his friends sit powerless in London's Club Theatre and can only watch as the ultimate war on Earth is waged, unable to participate unless involuntary spasming and liquefaction of bone matter counts as participation. On this occasion, the weapons of destruction are death rays rather than Vogon torpedoes, but then one planet-killing device is pretty much the same as another when you're on the receiving end.